welcome back to the third topic of today's breakfast show. Now we're approaching, it's actually quite cold today, but we are approaching the summer season in a couple of months, and talking about too much sun exposure can have serious repercussions. Most people love to spend time outside on sunny days, but too much sun can lead to problems ranging from embarrassing to actually life-threatening. And joining us here today on this issue is Dr. Hania Sherif, Professor of Cosmetics and Skincare Expert. Dr. Sherif, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Good morning.
About this, especially as we are now summertime, the sun, of course, will affect our skin.
Sure.
So, of course, there are certain times, let's say, the best time to be exposed to the sun, and the best time.
Well, I'm going to tell you the best time to be exposed to the sun before noon, and you're not able to wake up that early. You can postpone it until the afternoon before the sunset, 2 hours prior to the sunset. But of course not at noon, because at noon this will damage the skin generated by UV. Ultraviolet rays, so we have to take some precautions as well before exposing to the sun, such as sunscreens. Sunscreens are very effective for sensitive skin, and it varies from the percentage, starts from 50% up to 100%. So for a fair complexion, like yours, you need a 100% protection. For darker complexion, a bit darker complexion, maybe they need 50%.
Yeah.
And the issue is not only to wear a sunscreen, we have to wear a foundation as well, because now for different brands in foundation they do have something called SPF, which is the sun protection factor. And at minimum, it's 8, SPF 8, 15, and the expensive brands, they reach 30. Okay? So if you do wear a sunscreen with 100%, an additional protection of 20 to 30%, or even 15, you're going to make sure that you're having a full coverage from the sun and the damage caused by the sun, which sometimes reach skin cancer, of course.
Well, that's actually a bit of a problem for fair-skinned people such as me, because that's not really, I mean, if you use the sunscreen, that's 100%, you don't really get a tan. But a lot of people say, and I want to know if that's a myth or not, that you can actually put sunscreen and then put some tanning oil on top of it. So you would get the best of both worlds. So you'd actually protect your skin, at the same time get some sort of a tan, even if it's a mild one. That's a lie, isn't it?
No, you do have to make some sacrifices,
Yeah.
If you're very much aware of your complexion, not to have wrinkles, because the several and the frequent exposure to sun, you're prone to have, photo aging, and you're prone to have premature aging. So if you'd like to have a tan, you're not going to wear the sun protection, the sunblock at this time. You're going to have your sun oil and be exposed for a kind of a half an hour or something, just to have a slight tan. Because the fair complexion are very sensitive complexion, so and you're not that old, so you have to look after yourself. If you don't have to get older and to look older, because frequent exposure to sun is accelerate the appearance of wrinkles. So you have to make some sacrifices, not every day at least.
But to continue the same issue, sometimes when you use the oil or such kind of creams, the problem is that if you are not exposed to the sun at noontime, you're not going to take that tan. I don't feel that I can take it early in the morning or just at 5 or 6 o'clock.
No, not 6 o'clock, you can have it at 8, at 9.
In the morning?
In the morning, 2 hours prior, to noon. and the afternoon, because here the sun is too strong, you know, and the UV generated from several sun exposures is very much damaging to the skin. So you have to avoid this time in particular, you know what I mean.
What about the difference between the winter sun and the summer sun? Because everybody is under the impression that the winter sun is not really as strong and as effective, even for tanning, as much as the summer sun.
It's a bit milder, you know, in winter, because, you know, in summer you do have a very strong hot weather and high humidity and all that kind of stuff. It affects badly the skin.
So how can we avoid all these problems or things that may cause some problems for our skin?
To look after your skin, you know, by wearing some kind of oils, some
the main problem
kind of
is that
creams,
usually we don't know how to
masks, to have masks on a regular basis. Either you do buy it, you know, from the beauty stores, or homemade masks are very
like what? Because I was just going to tell you that sometimes people do not know how to select the best for them.
Well, if the people are not able to select, there are a few tips I can tell you about the homemade masks. It's very easy.
Yes.
You can go into the kitchen and make you know, a quick paste. It will take a few minutes.
Just give us an example.
I'll give you an example. For example, if you do have oily skin, and especially in teenagers, they do have oily skin, and the teenagers, they don't have to buy expensive stuff, you know, from the beauty stores. For instance, if you do have oily skin, you can go into the kitchen and get 2 tablets of aspirin. The aspirin, the active ingredient in the aspirin is the acetylsalicylic acid, to be grinded, you know, and you add a tablespoonful of honey, mix it, you know, and a few drops of olive oil, and then the paste is ready to be spread all over the face, and you have to avoid the eye area, of course, and leave it for 15 minutes and rinse out with cold water. You're going to have an amazing skin with an amazing texture. This is for the oily skin. If we're going to talk about the dry skin, we're going to have the same thing, but instead of having the aspirin tablets, because the aspirin tablets are intended for greasy and oily skin, instead we're going to add glycerin. Glycerin, we can buy it from the pharmacy. It's a viscous liquid, not Vaseline, petroleum jelly, it's glycerin. And add a tablespoonful of glycerin, honey, and olive oil or sweet almond oil. And just make the paste and rinse out with cold water. Some people are having, you know, dilated pores, and the complexion looks very dull. Dilated pores, and every young lady, she's after the beauty. So the beauty never comes without resilience, elasticity, firmness, you know, healthy and glowy. And I mean it, a bit glowy, not glowy resulting of the excessive sebaceous gland, you know, to be oily, but at least a kind of a glow, you know. So we have to add some oils and creams before going to bedtime, just, you know, to maintain the resilience and elasticity of the skin.
But the problem is that most of us we have mixed complexion.
Yeah, combination skin.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
you know, the combination skin,
and also we don't know whether we have oily skin or
you know, it by time when we get older, when I mean 40 plus, we seldom do have, you know, oily skin. Oily skin are meant for, you know, young ladies, but for 40 plus, like me at least, not you, we are prone to dry skin. So we have to look after our skin, especially at bedtime. You have to remove your makeup, completely remove your makeup, and prepare it to have a kind of oils which contains vegetables, you know, fruits, and there are already in the pharmacies that kind of oil that vitalizes the skin and make it very bright and very healthy, and then we add some cream according to skin type.
Yeah.
For oily skin, we never put creams. We always put fluid, because the fluid is less greasy than the cream. Yeah.
Doctor, now, assuming the bad sort of scenario, which is you already went out in the sun and you got some sort of a slight first degree maybe burn, and you're really turning red and all of these sort of symptoms. There are so many ways to deal with it. Some people put on moisturizers, some people drink a lot of fluids, some people even used to put cold yogurt on their face. What is the best way to deal with this sort of burn?
Well, actually, I'm going to tell you something. The frequent exposure to the sun, they generate, you know, the melanin, and the melanin, which is the dark pigments. And to get rid of the melanin, we have to have a kind of, you know, some ingredients to be worn over the face. I'm going to tell you a little secret how to do it, exactly how to do it.
Please.
Okay. My pleasure, of course.
Yeah.
The food supplement itself is very crucial to have the food supplements, you know, rich in vitamin C, vitamin E, and the trace element which is called selenium. So the vitamin C is found in fruits, you know, orange juice and lime juice and grapefruits, you know, that sort of stuff. The vitamin E is found in nuts, in oats, you know, in sunflower oil, because this oil in particular is a lipid-soluble oil. So how to do it? The food intake, the supplement intake, plus to wear something topically over the skin. So you're going to have your food intake, which is lots of juices, lots of fluids, as you have mentioned. Now, you know, juices, water, plenty of water, and eating vegetables, raw vegetables, and fruits, okay? Then comes the food supplements. We can't have all these ingredients only by food intake, so we're going to have the food supplements. How are we going to have the food supplements? It's simply 3 items, which is vitamin C plus vitamin E plus selenium. The vitamin C is very essential, you know, to inactivate the free radicals, you know, generated by UV exposure, and acts as an antioxidant. So it's very useful to have vitamin C. Vitamin C effervescence comes from 1 gram to 2 gram maximum per day, okay? So we're going to have 1 effervescent plus 1 capsule of vitamin E, which the dose is 400 international units, and 200 microgram of selenium. This combination, you know, makes wonders to the skin.
I think we are going to go on after this. Unfortunately, our time is finished.
Because this want to make a miracle. You won't believe it. This kind of a miracle. You know, vitamin C, vitamin E, and the selenium. And if by any chance you're going to ask for this ingredient, you're not able to have it at home, it's easy to buy it from the pharmacy. But if not, you can ask the pharmacist, I need a topical form, which includes 15% vitamin C, 0.5% of zinc, 5% of zinc, of vitamin E, and 0.5% of selenium.
Precious advice. Thank you very much, Dr. Hania Sherif, Professor of Cosmetics and Skincare Expert. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And with this, we come to the end of our breakfast show for today. Thank you all for joining us.